The 338 Lapua. A dream cartridge for many, but the real question is it something you actually need? I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're going over in today's video. That's weird. I don't see a bullet impact or anything. Wonder if something's wrong. Guess I might as well load up another one. Okay, now something's really wrong. I think somebody's joking with me or something. I gotta do some further investigation here. No, the bore looks fine. I don't know what the issue could be. Well, I guess I might as well just take a drink of coffee so I can try and figure this out. Huh? I think I found the culprit. That's funny. I think I was just confusing the price. Such a silly mistake. Let's try one more time. Come on! That's right, cost is probably the number one reason why you probably do not need a 338 Lapua. Although it's true that most rifles chambered in 338 Lapua are pretty expensive, that's not always the case. Let's just say you walk into a pawn shop one day and you find a used Savage chambered in 338 Lapua and you're like, how much is that rifle there? $1,000. I can get a 338 Lapua for $1,000? Sign me up. Hold on there. Let's think about this logically for a minute. I don't care how much the rifle costs. Ammo is probably going to be your number one expense, even if you reload it. But let's just assume that you're shooting factory loads. The average factory load right now is going for about $6, meaning that after shooting 167 rounds, which really is not that many, you'll have already spent more on the ammo than you would have on the rifle. That's not even 9 full boxes of ammo. That is nuts. But don't just assume that if you start reloading the 338 Lapua that it's going to become infinitely cheaper to shoot, because there is nothing cheap about reloading the 338 Lapua. That right there is a 22 LR powder charge, 45 ACP, 223 Remington, 308 Winchester, 7mm Remington Magnum, and finally the moment we've all been waiting for, the 338 Lapua. Check out the difference between all those powder charges right there. That is quite the difference. And here's the difference in cartridges just for reference. I know it's not a 50 BMG or a 416 Barrett or anything like that, but that is a lot of powder right there. The 338 Lapua uses so much powder that with most load recipes, this entire 1-pound jug is not even close to loading 100 rounds of ammo. So basically what I'm getting to at this point is that if you want to reload the 338 Lapua, number one, expect to buy a lot of powder at a time, and number two, expect to spend a lot of money on that powder. Not only is powder consumption a really big cost to reloading the 338 Lapua, but did you know that 338 diameter bullets are usually way more expensive than 6.5, 7mm, and even 30 caliber bullets? Let's just take a look at it real quick. In order to keep it uniform across the board for all these different calibers, let's just go ahead and take a look at the Hornady ELDM bullet, which is a long-range, high-performance bullet. So if I want the heaviest 6.5mm ELDM bullet out there, I'm looking at the 147 grain ELDM, which costs 47 cents a piece. Not too bad. The heaviest 7mm ELDM is a 180 grain that costs 48 cents a bullet, so essentially the same price as the 6.5. 30 caliber on the other hand, we're looking at a 225 grain ELDM, which costs 55 cents a bullet, so a little bit more expensive. And a 285 grain for the 338 Lapua, that doesn't seem too badly priced. Oh, wait a second. That's just for 50 projectiles. That's literally $1.20 a piece, just for the bullet. That's more expensive than a lot of factory-loaded 308 ammo that I buy, just for the bullet. But don't forget about one of the most important components, the cases. Right now on Midway USA, Lapua brand 338 Lapua cases are $3.70 a piece. $3.70 a piece. That is nuts for a piece of brass, but I guess at least you can find them. But in all reality, if you do end up buying a 338 Lapua, or maybe you already have one at home, reloading is pretty much a necessity in my opinion. Even with all the outrageous component prices that I had mentioned, you're still going to be a good margin ahead of buying factory ammo every time, and when you consider that the most expensive component, the case, should be able to be reloaded multiple times, I mean let's hope multiple times, hopefully you get more than one shot out of it, then the price of the case becomes even cheaper because you'll divide it by the total number of reloads that you get. This is a 17 HMR, and based on its size, I think you can already tell it's going to be pretty quiet. It's definitely loud enough to have to wear hearing protection, but let's go ahead and check out the next round. This right here is a 308, and fired out of a 16-inch AR, they're known to be really loud. I have to admit, that 308 was pretty loud, but this is a 338 Lapua, and compared to the 308, it is absolutely massive. I really hope the camera does it justice on just how loud it is. I swear, every time I shoot this thing, the noise travels around the world at least once, maybe twice, and then slaps me right in the face. Ow. Oh. Let me just reiterate this point. This thing is loud. If you're planning on making friends at the range, do not bring a 338 Lapua. Okay, fine. I'll give you one reason why you might want to own a 338 Lapua. Sorry about that. This is the 308, and it's considered to be very powerful for a standard short-action cartridge, so let's see what it does to a half-inch steel plate. Good to go. Guys, a piece of the shrapnel absolutely shredded my camera case. Not the worst performance I've ever seen, but I think we can do a little better. This is the 338 Lapua, and as you can see, it absolutely dwarfs the 308, so I think we're going to get a little better performance on the steel. Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, moment of truth. Looks like it went straight through. That is a lot more performance than that 308 right there. That was some pretty impressive performance right there, because not many cartridges can get through a half inch, but that was only at 50 yards. The 338 Lapua is known for being a long-range performer, so how does it perform at longer ranges? What if I told you that this load for the 338 Lapua right here has more kinetic energy at 700 yards than this 308 load does at the muzzle? Just think about that for a second. That is some insane performance. Now, if you thought that those numbers were crazy, take a look at this. This is a standard 44 Magnum, and it's known for being a pretty powerful handgun. But what if I told you that this 338 Lapua load right here has more kinetic energy at 2150 yards than this 44 Magnum does at the muzzle? Now that is some power right there. There definitely aren't too many cartridges that can do that, but how exactly does the 338 Lapua carry so much energy at these extended ranges? Well, case capacity definitely helps for one, but also 338 diameter projectiles that are pretty heavy have extremely high ballistic coefficients, meaning that they're able to cut through the air really well, which allows them to carry all that energy out at extended ranges. Anyways, if you want to learn more about how the 338 Lapua compares to other smaller diameter magnums out at extended ranges, I would highly recommend going and checking out my article at Midway USA. But let's come back to reality for just a minute. How often are most of us going to be shooting past 1,000 yards? Probably not very often if I had to guess, if at all. Basically what I'm getting to is that there are plenty of other cartridges that can get out to 1,000 yards easily for way cheaper than the 338 Lapua, so is it actually worth it or not? Ultimately, that question is for you to decide, but I really hope that you enjoyed today's video and learned something. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, don't let ballistics drive you bananas.